So the next, we're going to pass the floor to Israel Quintanilla, who is a doctor in engineering and cartography, lecturer in cartography from the University of Polytechnic here in Valencia. He works in masters, in degrees, different qualifications. He works on the master in engineering and geoinformation and geo-IT, which he's going to talk today. His research lines are centered on navigation, satellite navigation, and drone apps within geometrics. And the presentation is called University Masters in Geomatic Work, the end. I'll tell you that once I see it. Right, after all that curriculum, I can't actually close the PowerPoint, so you're going to help me on this, and I'll tell you the name of the speech in a minute.
Bueno, pues muchas gracias.
Thanks very much. Thanks a lot for inviting us here. We're talking about geomatics and geoinformation. Everything that we're doing, all of us who are here are interested in realizing and carrying out applications for geomatics and geoinformation using gvSIG, but also we need to receive training. And we've seen it's been integrated now into secondary education, and we're going to see it's been integrated into university studies. And also later on we'll see actions which GVS are carrying out in order to include it into all the different stages of education in Spain. So therefore we'd have this paradigm, we could say, we'd have primary education, GCSEs, A-levels, university, doctorate, which is the aim that we have, so that we can disseminate this and it can be used as a tool, a management and an analytical tool, and for obtaining information. So I'm not going to go any further, bore you any further. The name of this definitely is what you're looking at here. Works for sampling analysis, the potential of analysis of geomatics in secondary education. We're going to look at that's what I've just said. We're going to take a look at what this means in the next slide. So with geomatics, I've said very often, is three words, basically. Well, I'm the subdirector of the School of Cartography and Typography. We give training, geomatic information, which is what we are going to show now. Geomatic, which also I think everybody knows what geomatics is. We try to disseminate what geomatics is for quite a long time now, but it's quite simple. It's nothing more than it's just the CITs. That's all we're talking about, CITs, which are applied to geosciences, which we all know. And from here, we try to have different actions, processes, and apps. We're going to take a look at this. I want to talk about training, official training. We're going to talk about the degree. We're going to look at the MA and the doctorate, the PhD, which we've set up this year. Then we're going to take a look at apps, project apps, real projects, real dissertations, and also we'll take a look at research groups where the GVS tool has been used. Well, take a look at the facilities here so you know where we are. You know, it's really like a tiny city. So we could use it as though it was a geographical. 5,000 inhabitants. This is the subject that we give in the school. As you can see, it's got three stages: the degree, the master, and the PhD. It's quite a lot of credits here, which is official education. 90 credits of MA training in geomatics and information, and from there we can access the PhD, which is done between Madrid and Valencia Polytechnics. You can get a PhD in engineering and geomatics. So geomatics appears in the degree, in the master's studies, and in the PhD. And then somebody will be the first doctor in a few years in this. We also have our own qualifications. You can see here we've got mobile devices, which this course is given online. I'm not going to talk very much about this. We'll just take a look at this slide here to explain what we do. We screen data, we then treat it with multiple sensors from satellite images. We try to observe the theory with sensoring. And there we have a number of scanners like Lidl or photographic cameras to do cartology, the famous drones, which are so fashionable at present, where they've got a multi-spectre, visible spectrum, which I'm going to talk about. Famous coaches for mobile mapping, which you know about, you know what they're used for. We talk about the scanners, we talk about the sensors, GPS, high accuracy sat-navs, They're used in mobile devices and all this acquisition of data in which we are specialists. Well, obviously, we treat these data, we process these data, and we show them. We display the information, and we manage it through geographic information systems, biosystems. We then make multiple applications. Likewise, this information is distributed through spatial infrastructures. Apps are used in engineering or in land registry, etc. This has been going on it's a 4-year degree. From here, then you move on to the MA, to the Master. And this is an example of present from the Untitled University, which has been going on for quite many years. There's a project which was carried out to do web mapping and visualization of geolocation of the Fallas here in Valencia. Obviously, we're talking about the Fallas Festival. There's then the Master in Geomatics and Geoinformation. Here's a stretch of the program. We're developing a little bit the different subjects. We're seeing how we're going to integrate into gvSIG. There are some of these which don't cover it or don't use the SIG enough, which I'm going to skip over quite quickly. There are three terms, and in each of those terms there's an obligatory subject, and in the fourth term we have placements in companies. We're going to take a look at the different programming for applications in geospatial. This is a very important obligatory subject, and here we basically we've done it, and we want to programming so that the students can program using Python because of the good use that can be used in geographic systems. They are using spatial libraries, which you can see here, NTV2, and we use another subject which is very important here, which is a core, is the multivariable statistics. We have to obviously analyze all the difference. We have to take use of this type of tool. So then we take a look at this types of modeling, which could be the Crigiado, or we could use different modules and then compare the different models. We've got positioning here, the positioning, geopositioning. You know that it's very important about when everything we're talking about now. We're talking the Master, we talk about the PPP positioning. I suppose you know how this works. I'm not going to explain what it is. It's not necessary for applications in aggregate farming, precision farming, and for everything which is all related to anything for referencing. We take a look at town planning and land registry. If you all know, then I'm going to tell you there's something which we believe that we should know because we're working this world, which is that on the 1st of November 2015, there is the land registry legislation which came out, and the official College of Cartographers made a great effort to try to coordinate the land registry and registering property, because you know here in Spain the land register is a taxable item. It's like the rates, and this depends on the property, but there might not be a georeference, and the georeferencing obviously of the spatial data are going to be in the registry, and they may not coincide with the actual registry itself. So we need to coordinate these things together bit by bit. We're going to use software called Geospatial 4. It's in GVS. We are giving different explanations in different areas about this. So I'm trying to explain to you that it's very important that things are changing here. Geospatial application apps in mobile devices. We're working with geolocation-based services. We're obviously going to integrate an IT geographic system with geolocation, with a communication system and a mobile device. The LMS is when we take a look at the Google Maps and we find out where we are, where you want to go, and what is surrounding you. And then this side of this, which is going to be looked at, are the smart cities, which is extremely fashionable at present. And this is where we also need to look at management of cities in an intelligent way, in a smart way. We need obviously cartography. We need a management of this. We need distribution of this with geolocation, etc., which is also looked at in this subject. We've got other subjects which could be from heritage, architectural heritage. We look at scanners or multi-spectrums like the multi-radar, georadar, to take a look at what is under the Earth's layer, etc. This is another thing which is not really related, sensors and navigation for drones or for land vehicles. Here we're going to take a look at this because we talk here about distribution of spatial information. We're talking about European legislation, national, and the LISIGE, which is cartographic legislation, where it's being The same thing has happened here, which we did before in the legislation for spatial aspects, tools used for teledetection and cartographic updating with Copernicus, which is a European program for the European from ESA. And not long ago, these are satellites for observing through imaging. Here we're going to go a lot of depth into a geographic system. We use Python, as we explained before, to develop the SIG and the different operations, the different algorithms which are necessary to carrying out the corresponding apps. And we use gvSIG. We could use QGIS, GIS as well, among others. So this is environmental cartographic models. They talk about the elevations using LIDAR, and we do operations, risk analysis for coastal dynamics and flow, water flows, etc. These system is also related here. We have a total system where we use web mapping to visualize data. We use metadata. We use WMS. We use other protocols, which you can see here on the slide. WMLSL. Lots of different. Most of these, which you already know, are used to use a geo portal. So here's another of the subjects which is extremely modern, and we're trying to look at 3D modeling and the WebGL, which is available in version 5. You can generate 3D models as well as in mobile devices and PC in the desktop. Obviously, as we said, we can acquire data. There's something which takes a look at all the different sensors which I implied before about data acquisition from LIDAR, and for transportation, for photometry, drones, georadars, etc., GPS, so satellite, nav satellites. The master is official. It's got 3 double titles, which we're quite proud about, because any student who does the master can have doing a 1-year course here in Valencia in the Polytechnic, and another in any other place. They can get a master both from here and from the country where they do their work. We have double with Grand École in Paris, which is a top in education in Paris, which is mainly in civil engineering. So somebody who comes here, they got the same level as a civil engineer. We've also got a master in Cranfield, double degree, which is centered on geographic systems. And we've got another one in Germany, in Karlsruhe, which is a master in geomatics. And I repeat, obviously, all the students can take the typical programs like Erasmus, etc., MoveX. Now I'd like to show this doctoral program, because I said it started this year, and it's something which is quite novel because it's a PhD, an official PhD, in the Polytechnic University in Valencia, and they're collaborating with the Polytechnic in Madrid. It's usually about 3 years to the PhD, and during these 3 years you can work for a research team, we can work in telematics, or you can choose different research groups which make up this doctoral program, which are geocomputation, modelization, geodesy, geophysics. So there are 600 hours. It's transversal, it's online also, so you can work from any type of environment, any setting. Basically, it's research where you're taught how to carry out research, how to publicize things. They are collaborating companies we have here, but there are more and more companies who are starting now to work, so we can see how successful we have been. The amount of people who applied in 2015-16 have been 18 applications in Valencia and 15 in the Polytechnic in Madrid. As we're talking about, the 70%. We'll have in a few years we'll have around 25 different PhD people. So in this way, what we're doing is to highlight and potentiating the levels of research and development. So now we're taking a look at the train. Now what we want to explain to you is how this is integrated, use it through projects, the different qualifications. Everything that I've mentioned before about the qualifications is the Bologna process. Now we're take a look at the different projects and how in these projects, the dissertations at the end, we integrate into the GVSS. This is a Bancaja project. It's for Caritas, which is a charity. And the main thing about this is that work has been on this for 2 years. Enrique Soros should be here, I think, who is working on developing GeoSIG, gvSIG, all the services which Caritas, the charity organization, carry out. This we're showing you because it uses a module. Well, I'm not going to tell you the tutor's work, because it was Palomar. Last year they went mad at me because I didn't tell who the people were. So this year I'm telling you who they are. And if not, you can read them yourselves, taking a look at the screen. And what we do here is to integrate what is a module geo-specific for roads, a real project using gvSIG with these, GVS with these modules. I presume you know the people who we can see here on the screen, who works with many, many projects, infrastructures, spatial data. Here you've got all the people who are working in this, and there's another example of this. We have work here in a place called Chester, where gvSIG is being used for initial cartography, for operations of spatial analysis, and create new cartographic layers. These are in different municipalities, which are true in different spatial areas, and we've seen also there's a subject here in the master in which we incorporate the creation and infrastructure of spatial structures. This project is also in the town hall. It's real, and specifically the student Javier Sanchez, was tutored by Jose Carlos also, and the experimental tutor was Antonio Garcia Benyoc. And the student is presently working in the town hall, and he's generated an information system for using gvSIG as a IDE client for all the operations carried out by the council, the town hall. And it's been programmed well enough so that any operation can be done using this. It uses PostHist for network analysis. I know there's an awful lot of information I'm giving you, but obviously this presentation is going to be available for anybody who is interested to take a look at it. You can get in contact with the tutor or with us if you want to, and we will comment on this. Right. As we all know, Alvaro moves around on an international level. He works in different countries, especially in America. And we've got an example here. It's all used not only here, but gvSIG is national. It tells you there we've got international conferences. So it's totally complete using gvSIG in Paraguay. Right, here we did programmation through gvSIG to create geoprocesses and documentation. And finally,
Pues para que veáis que también se integra.
So you can see this integrated within the research groups which have got at the university. The group came called sorry, I don't remember the name of the group, but we had José Eliseo Sevat or something similar. We had algorithms to generate. They had algorithms to generate environmental parameters, which they migrated to gvSIG. And I think that that's basically enough. So these are the projects, and now I'd like to comment to the different actions which we are doing to invite you to participate, at least in the first, within the school. Within the school for cartography, we're developing a project at present, which is the beta version. We just need to do the batching, and we're doing web mapping at present to be able to visualize and reference, and through the matching and generating algorithms which are capable of connecting two types of entities. On the one hand, companies who we have to have present, obviously, because obviously the students are going to be working there in the end, so we need to do geolocalization, invite all different companies from different sectors in work in telematics to participate and be involved in this web mapping. And in this way, we can establish different themes and find out which are the companies who work with, who have the GIS dynamics, and we'll get a corresponding list of the users, people who are interested, the people who are qualified can then enter with their enter with their CV and the key words which can be used to do automatic matching between the companies, employers, and the people, the new graduates, people who are looking. So we're looking for synergies and work offers which are going to be available for people. This is being done in collaboration with the college, the official college, But a college, in the end, is the people who are going to have to deal with these type of things. We've also done this for Erasmus, but this was done at an individual level. When a student goes on Erasmus, doesn't know where they are, and they need to find a place to live, or need to find their party that they want to go to. We're also going to use it in this aspect. Here we've got companies, universities, etc. And now I think that with that, the last TFC is geomatics, and what was done was to carry out analysis of all the legislation, all the official legislation, both from the official gazettes and from the official diary from the region of Valencia, on all levels of teaching, primary, secondary, GCSE level, higher education. All of this was analysed. All the contents were analysed, and especially assessment criteria, evaluation criteria. As you can see it here, it says evaluation criteria, 7 criteria, where the official gazette said, how am I going to evaluate the content which I must use in the official curriculum. Once this had been introduced into the database, it was quite difficult to do. What we're going to do is then to integrate the geomatics within the information at all levels. This will be centralized in gvSIG to integrate training, as we know it, as a teaching tool, but we're also going to use it with GPS, with satellites, with photometry, with cartography, etc. Right, so I think that you've got quite a lot of information there. You've got the email addresses here, and I think that the council is going to be at the end. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.